God is so big, so strong and so mighty, there's nothing our God cannot do. Our God is so big, so strong and so mighty, there's nothing our God cannot do. He made the stars, He made the trees, He made the elephants too. Our God is so big, so strong and so mighty, there's nothing our God cannot do. Boom, boom. I wanted to start this talk with that song for a couple of reasons. First, I like to see people relaxed and smiling. It's always easier to talk to an audience that's relaxed and smiling. Second, I like to remind you of a time in life when you could sort of get away with that childlike faith that could be summed up in a simple song. Third, I wanted to give you a talk tonight about the feeling of faith. And I thought that by starting by singing a song in front of a bunch of people, solo, a cappella, maybe I could make myself relaxed and smiling as well. Because I think that's what faith looks like. I think that's what faith feels like. When I see people relaxed and smiling, I get the sense that they have this confident assurance, what I would call a feeling of faith. I know when I have anxiety and doubt and stress, my face will tend to contort in this way that really physically affects my mood. And I'll catch myself looking this way, and it disturbs me when I see other people looking this way. See, because doubt is faith's opponent. Doubt can lead to uncertainty, can lead to anxiety, and it can even lead to fear. But doubt is important, and it's that tension between doubt and faith that is a very important and necessary struggle. And I'm here today to tell you that doubt and fear and uncertainty and anxiety are basic, normal, healthy human emotions. Think for a minute. If a stranger offers your child candy and intends to harm your child, it's best if you've instilled a certain level of doubt and skepticism in their minds so they'll be naturally unsure of the situation. Without doubt and skepticism, we're all susceptible to being taken advantage of. Have you ever heard someone called a doubting Thomas? It's usually used in a derogatory way, and it comes from John chapter 20 in the Bible. You see, the Apostle Thomas refuses to believe in the resurrected Jesus unless he can put his hands in Jesus' crucifixion wounds. Jesus obliges, and Thomas believes. But did you notice that a week earlier, Jesus had already presented his crucifixion wounds to the other 10 apostles? Did you notice about Thomas specifically in John chapter 11, when Jesus wants to take a trip to a town called Bethany with his apostles? It's Thomas who encourages them to make the trip, despite the fact that nearly everyone in Bethany was out to kill Jesus. He didn't seem to be such a doubter there. So really, all the apostles are subject to doubt and fear, not just Thomas. And we're no different. It's just that when doubt and uncertainty and anxiety and fear creep in, we need a strategy to regain a firm foothold of faith. Jesus said, "Blessed are those who have not seen and yet have believed." So in response to doubt and uncertainty and anxiety and fear, I developed for myself a simple strategy to try to restore a feeling of faith. I try to maintain a positive attitude. I try to live life with a certain can-do gusto. I try to be, in short, enthusiastic. Enthusiasm is a word that comes from the Greek entheos, which can simply be translated filled with God. Enthusiasm is an attitude that represents faith pretty well. So how do you create that feeling of enthusiastic faith even when doubt creeps in? How can you accomplish being filled with God when you're tired and unsure? Doubt comes in many ways. It comes in many forms. We can doubt that we have the ability. We might doubt that we're going to be able to make it. We might doubt that God is listening. We may even doubt that He exists. So for me, when doubt creeps in, I start by raising my eyebrows. And in my head, just so you know when you see me do this, when I raise my eyebrows, I pause, and I think, why am I here on this planet? And that usually starts me on a road back to that feeling of enthusiastic faith. It also tends to make other people smile and give that feeling of confident assurance vibe back to me. So this is not in a vacuum. The framework of simply raising my eyebrows and allowing that to affect my attitude is based on a broader strategy that I call PEP, like putting pep in your step. PEP is basically the same thing as enthusiasm, but it was a lot harder to make an acronym out of the word enthusiasm. So I boiled it down to PEP. The acronym PEP is simple, it's catchy, you're going to remember it. I've taught my kids this acronym. I've taught many young people this acronym. This is how it goes. The first P is for pay attention. Pay attention. Be aware of your surroundings. Watch what goes on around you. Take note of how the world works. Really dig in and understand those qualities that you can adopt to live a functional life. This is actually how faith is born. If you think about it, how do we know that touching a hot stove leads to pain? Well, either somebody has told you in the past, don't touch the stove when it's on, and you have faith in them, and thereby avoid the pain associated with touching a hot stove. Or you learn by experience. Ouch. Either way, the next time that situation comes around, if you would just pay attention, if you remember what works and what doesn't, you develop a kind of faith and outcomes that are essentially predictable. You develop an understanding of patterns. You develop an understanding of how the world really works. And it's a lot easier to approach life with a positive attitude if you have a sense of how the world works than if you don't. So I pay attention to things I see. I take note of what works and what doesn't. I listen to new ideas, and I weigh them against the wisdom of the past. I'm not the quickest adopter of new ideas, but I'm not averse to them either. Listen, watch, and pay attention. The E in PEP is for exercise. Exercise is not supposed to be fun. It can be, but it's not the essential quality of exercise. Exercise is supposed to be something that involves struggle and maybe even a little pain. But the struggle of exercise will make you healthier. Look, if you're not healthy, if you're struggling with your health, make it a goal to become a little healthier. Life is tougher when you're not healthy. No matter how healthy you are now, make it a goal to improve your health. It will definitely help you feel more peppy. Our bodies work best when they're provided some degree of challenge, whether it's weight training or strength training, resistance training, aerobic training, any other number of any other of a number of activities that are strenuous, that raise the heart rate, that push yourself beyond your current limits. But exercise is not all physical. Much of the exercise that's talked about in the Bible is either mental or spiritual. You must also be exercising your brain and your faith. Challenge ideas, challenge assumptions. The mental struggle is just as important, if not more, than the physical. Think about facing doubt, uncertainty, anxiety, and fear in the same way that you would approach an obstacle, like running up a steep hill, one step at a time. So find something to struggle against. Find something to resist. That's the basis of exercise. And without struggle and effort, we're going to get soft, we're going to get weak, we're going to waste away, and we're going to have a harder time paying attention, being aware, and ultimately being peppy. So, pay attention, exercise. And on those days that you will have, like I have, days I wake up and I'm not feeling naturally peppy, I'm usually feeling anxious and stressed about things. When this happens, the third letter, P, is for pray. Because prayer for me is when I acknowledge to God that I don't know everything, that I can't control everything, I can't predict the future, I often don't even understand the past or the present. And when I pray, I acknowledge to God that I am very small. And it's actually quite liberating and empowering. It lifts this huge weight off of me. And it restores me to feeling peppy. See, I can't prove to you that God exists. I can't take you back to the foot of Mount Sinai to look at the stone tablets that were written with the finger of God. So I have to let those guys wrestle, faith and doubt. Don't stop wrestling. Don't stop asking questions. Don't stop struggling with God. But pay attention, exercise, and pray. And for goodness sake, be peppy. Because Jesus said, in this world you will have trouble, but be peppy, for I have overcome the world. So that should give you a real reason to smile. And maybe when you're feeling stressed or anxious, to give your eyebrows a little raise. Because Jesus has overcome the world. And our God is so big, so strong, and so mighty, there's nothing our God cannot do. Boom, boom.